Hey guys, welcome back to Buzzer2Buzzer. Alright guys, so it's been a minute since we last uploaded our last episode, but a lot of NBA content has gone down. We here at Buzzer2Buzzer have been quite busy just transitioning into the summer, going into that college life, but don't worry, we are still planning on maintaining somewhat schedule and getting more consistent throughout this summer as well. Over the past couple of weeks, we've seen a bunch of NBA developments gone down. Most importantly, since our last episode, the first round of the NBA playoffs concluded, with notably the Los Angeles Lakers going out. That was quite some devastation, which occurred throughout our fan base and throughout us as well. But the second rounds are well underway. We've already seen the Phoenix Suns sweep the Denver Nuggets, moving on towards the conference finals as well. And now, today, we found out some more devastating news coming about with NBA players and some injuries, and players will be taking some time off. Guys, today the news came out earlier today that we are going to be seeing the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers right now going against the Jazz in a series tied 2-2. Kawhi Leonard, breaking news, suffering an ACL injury. At the moment, although we're not sure whether it's an ACL tear or what type of ACL injury it is, we're finding out that he will be missing not only Game 5, coming up a crucial game, but along with most likely the rest of the series. Along with that, we also found out some breaking news that the star point guard who led the Phoenix Suns through to the Western Conference Finals, Chris Paul, also being out due to some COVID-19 protocol reasons. Now, guys, obviously, these playoffs have been quite different. We're about to see a new champion being crowned with the Los Angeles Lakers being out. I believe there's some stats since 2001. It will be a different team who will be taking the crown home. It's going to be a fun NBA playoffs, but we're seeing these injuries go down. Our thoughts on what's been up?
I know it's not confirmed that Kawhi's missing Game 6 and 7. It's only 5 right now, but I just think it's highly unlikely that he's going to be there for 6 and 7, looking at how severe the ACL injury really is. Obviously, there's not much to say. Everyone knows Kawhi's the best player on that team. It's not even close. The value he brings is just insane, and it's going to be extremely difficult for the Clippers to win 2 more games against the Jazz with Kawhi being gone. Paul George, this is his time. He really has to step up as a player and, make smart decisions, shoot the ball efficiently. And he can't go into last year's pandemic P stage at all in these 2 games. And, it is horrible timing for the Clippers. This is really unfortunate. They were having a great run, winning 2 straight and obviously losing their first 2, but they're on a hot streak right now. And with Kawhi, I really think that they could have won the series. And we just have to wait and find out to see how the rest of the series plays out with Kawhi being gone.
What's interesting is the 2 games that they did win, Paul George played amazing. He dropped 30 points both games. And so for the Clippers to even have a chance, he's got to come out in Games 5 and 6 and 7 if Kawhi doesn't play and drop 30 again. That's the minimum requirement. All those other guys have to step. Kawhi, when you lose a guy like Kawhi Leonard on your team, you obviously have a big hole to fill. Speaking of his ACL injury, LeBron was right. At the beginning of the season, he was preaching about how the shortened season is going to be bad. All the games compressed that are going to be bad for all the injuries you have around you're putting up right now. But, they need the rest. And, like you said, 9 All-Stars missing playoff games. That's a league record. That's something you don't want to see. The playoffs are the most exciting time of the NBA season, as we all know. And it's devastating to see it go down all to make sure we had a season. Hopefully next year they go back to the regular schedule, avoiding all these injuries and give these players a well-due rest.
Exactly. It's one of the main headlines of these playoffs. It started out all well, but then we saw a large array of players going down. It started off with Anthony Davis. We saw, LeBron had his fair share of injuries. Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown.
Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray, exactly. The Denver Nuggets. Who knows? You think about what the difference which these playoffs could have made. If Anthony Davis was in, the Lakers would most likely be in the second round. If Jamal Murray was balling out the way he was balling out last year, those 50-piece games we saw, the 2-3-1 comebacks he and Nikola Jokic put up, the Nuggets, they could have probably they would not have gotten swept by the Phoenix Suns. I don't think that could have happened. The next, most recently, Kyrie Irving going out as well. James Harden, we saw last night. Although KD had a marvelous, amazing performance, dropping that 49-point game with a triple-double, James Harden played 45 minutes and had 3 points. He was just passing the ball to KD last night. So I think these injuries are just terrible. And now with Kawhi Leonard going down, Arden's not here at the moment right now, but as much as I like to first clown the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard, it's going to be sad to see because the Clippers being led by Paul George, I just don't see it. I think that's going to pave the way for the Jazz to take over and advance the Western Conference Finals. Now, similarly, guys, we also found out some other news that Chris Paul is going to not only be missing the next couple of days, but potentially weeks due to some COVID-19 protocols. At the moment, it's not sure whether he violated the protocols set by the NBA and whether he is vaccinated or not. But how could this shift up the legacy and the future for the Suns going on to these Western Conference Finals?
So what happened with Chris Paul? It's been confirmed he tested positive for COVID-19, and if I remember correctly, the last player to test positive for COVID-19 was Bridges on the Charlotte Hornets, and he was gone for 11 days. So they say it's 10 to 14 days to come back to play. That's NBA protocol. Looking at it, they got to hope for the best that those 10 to 14 games go by without enough games being gone in whoever the Suns play. If it's the Clippers, if the Jazz, you're rooting for that series to go as long as possible. And then hopefully Chris Paul only misses game 1, game 2. We know how important he is to the team. He helps run that offense. Sometimes it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but what he's doing on the floor, spreading all those players, putting Devin Booker and DeAndre in better positions to score, even Cameron Payne. So looking at this from Suns, it's really scary. It really opens the West up for the Jazz, with Kawhi hurt. And so it's going to be interesting to see how long he takes to come back from his positive COVID test.
Yeah, we've seen throughout this regular season Chris Paul's impact on the Suns, his leadership, his high basketball IQ, his knowledge, being a veteran player, and it's really impacted the Suns in a positive way. And to be gone for we don't know how many days, but most likely 10 to 14 days. What Harsh was saying, that's a huge blow for the Suns. At this point in the playoffs, this is the Western Conference Finals, where that's about to happen. Injuries they're going to happen, but all these teams are the top tier teams right now. They're the best teams in the league, obviously, because they're in the finals and in the playoffs and the respective. What am I saying? In the conference finals, and Chris Paul being out is just as a huge blow. Suns are most likely going to versus the Jazz, in my opinion, seeing how the Clippers do without Kawhi. But I don't really know. I think they were the favorites I think personally they were my favorites to win it all. The Suns before this news about CP3, being the Lakers, sweeping the Nuggets, they were doing amazing. So hopefully they do good again. Maybe they'll win the chip this year, but I don't know what's going to happen with CP3 being out.
This one really hurts for me because seeing Chris Paul, the impact which he was having, guys, the triple doubles, the way he was leading, I think the stat sheet doesn't do him justice. We see his off the ball impact is inexplainable. You can't explain it with numbers. I truly believe that. And now him going out, I think that this was the year he was making the way to the ring, about to cement his name in potentially a top 5 point guard in NBA history. Chris Paul is one of those guys who's been severely underrated throughout his whole career. And I feel like, we've seen him gone to OKC, the impact he had there. And now at the Suns, he's locking himself up for a max contract coming in the future for sure. But these injuries, man, they're shaping up the league. And I think in the future, questions will be raised as to whether the regular season has to be shortened in order to allow for the playoffs to sail smoothly. Alrighty, guys, those are our thoughts on the NBA playoff landscape changing due to these injuries and appearances by NBA players. It's truly unfortunate, but hopefully we'll still be able to see some NBA action go down. As always, guys, be sure to like button, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts on these injuries and how these injuries and missed appearances will impact the playoffs up ahead. Guys, as always, take care. Catch you guys on the next one.